It's that heater hose down there. You can see that bubbling. I hit my hand right there. See little threads coming out. But yeah, that's the heater hose I need to replace. I'm gonna put a little white out on it, so I remember when I get the other motor in there. Yeah, I'm not gonna do a compression test. I mean, the car's not supposed to be having that much pressure in the coolant system. So I mean, anybody that knows a lot about cars knows that's not even supposed to happen. The car wouldn't even start up to even warm up to build up pressure, and the water pump doesn't even rotate that fast to develop pressure. And the cooling system, the heat is what developed the excessive amount of pressure, not the flow of water. So we're gonna work on getting this motor out. And first thing I got off is the air box. Let's see here. And I'm gonna work on getting all the connectors pulled out, drain the coolant, and so I guess the first step while I'm pulling stuff off from the top is to go ahead and drain the coolant. I got the splash guard, I got that taken care of. I got that out. It's like a series of 12mm bolts. You pull that down. The petcock is on the passenger side. It's a Phillip head right under the bottom. It's a red petcock. You'll see it. But got an air box out. There was 10mm bolts. And I'm just gonna pull off various connectors up top here. I did spray the bottom with PB Blaster, so that'll soak the exhaust bolts while I work on the top here. Here we go. No, don't let that. Huh. This is a newer one than I did a while ago. I remember the other one had like some connectors down the base down there that confused me at one point. So in the midst of pulling the converters out, I was gonna put it this way. There's a lot of fluid, water that built up inside the exhaust system as a result of the blown head gasket. So I wouldn't be shocked if there was any codes arising as a result of for a defective catalytic converter at some point in time in the future. And this car do have like 190,000 miles on it. But I need to drain the oil out of this thing. As far as dismemberment, disassembling this engine, I mean, I only use like a 7/8 socket to move the oxygen sensor, 12 to pull off the exhaust bolts, the heat shield, and the remove the exhaust bolts. So, and a 10mm to pull the crank sensor. I did have some issues pulling the crank sensor because had warped. If you look at the sides over here, it had warped after the age, and it developed a lip. Pulling it out caused the end to break there. So this is again due to 180,000 miles of run time. So hopefully the new vehicle come with a crank sensor. I'm hoping they didn't cut it off, which I'm pretty sure they did because the manifolds have cats on it, and I'm pretty sure they want the cat. So yeah, kind of losing hope over that one. So I'm gonna work on removing this timing cover. Take off this mount, which I assume is going to be 12, but it's not. Oh shit. Let's see. That egg is cracked. Let's see. So I got to get these off of here, get the fuel rail off. And get the fuel rail off first. I'm not gonna have to do this with the other motor, but I'm gonna strip everything I can off of this thing. The other one had a staggered style 2-piece intake. You have the older ones, that is, the 2.7. Carrying on, we're gonna remove the valve cover gaskets. I don't drop this motor. Alright, we're gonna work on pulling this timing cover off to inspect the belt. I got the tensioner and the idler off. That was a 14. I'm gonna remove the power steering pump. Going to get replaced with something new. I had some issues getting that one off. I don't know, I guess the heat or something, not sure, but hopefully the new motor will come with the timing cover. I'll just replace that. But just the belt does have quite a bit of slack in it. Let's work on getting that harmonic balancer off. Alright, let's keep on keeping on. Some of these bolts. Second one of my belt. Let's take a look at this. Time belt is a little loose in there. This is the time belt the customer bought for AAA to install. I hate to say it, man, but this don't look too good. I wonder why the belt will freely move like that. I mean, this will definitely cause overheating problems. Maybe the tensioner went out, assuming. But the engine should rotate from what we're looking at clockwise. There's no reason that this tensioner shouldn't continuously apply tension to this timing belt. Yeah, look at timing chain tensioner. Oh, the timing chain tensioner ain't that good. Look at it. Take a look at this. Look at that. I mean, it's not even continuously applying tension there. So it's a possibility the new tensioner, this is a Duralast timing belt component set, the tensioner went out and caused that time belt to freewheel, causing potential overheating problems. Because I mean, there's no way, I mean, that tensioner should have such low tension. Let's see here. Now, normally they'll be pretty tight. That's strange. I feel better. I'm not sure why that tensioner didn't have a high load Maybe it was just inefficient in the position that it was in. It's tight now. I wondered, let me try something. Let's see what I can do with this tensioner here. See, it doesn't even pull the tensioner. Tensioner's not even doing anything. Let me encourage it a little bit. Look at that, it's tight now. Yeah, there was really no good load on the tensioner originally. So I had a phone call, but yeah, look at it now. It has like a real good tension on there. I wonder if this is just my theory based off of what I'm seeing here in this timing belt. I wonder if the timing belt was just loose to the point where it caused that water pump not to operate properly, and eventually caused the car to overheat and bust that hose. And I wonder if that's what caused her to blow the motor up, blow the head gasket. Because I mean, it was really loose. I mean, there's no way I could have made this belt loose when taking the timing component off. This tensioner just isn't that efficient and didn't work like it was supposed to. And I'm worried, like, I mean, it seems to be fine now. I'll consider probably utilizing this one. But more than likely, I'll probably just put a whole new one on here. I would feel better putting all new stuff on here, even though this water pump probably only got like 1,000 miles on it. Let's see what it looks like taking this stuff off. And my socket's worn out. Socket is pretty old. I would feel better putting a new belt and stuff on here. So I'm gonna put a new time belt component set on here. I just don't feel comfortable, especially if the belt's been slipping. You can see the stress marks here where the belt's been sliding. So yeah, we'll put a new time belt set and water pump kit on here. I know I'm gonna make a mess with this fluid, so I should have I'm gonna lift this motor up. It's loose. All these bolts are loose. I did see a little bit of, it looked like a little bit of fluid down there, but maybe they torqued it down, just didn't. That was a little tight. That was loose. That was pretty loose. Maybe they didn't torque them down all the way. I'm not. This motor. Definitely seemed like a disaster waiting to happen here. Let that drain out. Strange. I don't know, man. For something to be so new, I mean, how did gasket get so deteriorated? I mean, I want to assume, I'm assuming, um, it was probably because of overheating. I just don't see that being a thing. Strange to me. This black stuff inside the coolant system is from the exhaust. That's all that is. So this is why it's black. The head gasket blue, and it depending on the side it blew on, which was the exhaust side, the carbon is going to get into the cooling system. Hence is why when we start the car up, it would put an excessive amount of pressure into the water jackets. So that's that. I'm going to continue on getting the alternator off. We'll probably pull the heads off is where I'll probably start back recording. The cams out, look at the head gasket. But I'm going to get every single sensor off of here, from the oil pressure sensor down here to, gosh, anything that's salvageable. I'm going to take everything off. This whole block is getting stripped down. I'm pulling the lower intake, upper intake, everything off. So, hell, even the oil filter housing. Believe me, if it wasn't getting the motor, I mean, I'd take a lot more care. Taking a chance on this motor coming with a fresh set of coils. If not, then I guess I'll be buying some coils. But I do have spare coils over there from the front bank. But possibility might be. Oh shit! Probably why I didn't push up. Oh well. If I have any problems on the other side, I'll just take more. Well, these came out pretty easy, so I remember taking these out though. But I got one coil spare. I got 4 coils, so I think we should be good. But normally they're not going to pull the end. I can see them taking off the throttle body from the junkyard, but they're not going to pull off all the coils. 90% of the time they don't. So I should be fine. Work on this first bank. No, this is bank 2. That's what this bank is. See, so get bank 2 out. One banks is always going to look better than the other because of lubricating abilities. Some parts of the engine gets more adequate lubrication than others. So, we got trouble getting that bolt out. It's a little tricky. It's not sensor. It's defective. I can't reuse that. And it's melted on there. That's the same with the same issue with the knock sensor. It was melted. And this car got 180 something thousand miles, so I mean, what do you expect? Take off these oil control valves. So take a look at that. These are the oil control valve screens, so I'm going to keep them, but just in case. But if I was to reuse them, I would definitely would have cleaned these screens off. I'm not sure that's metal or not. I'm sure some of it's metal. That one's clogged up pretty bad. Check engine lights though, I'm sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure the car ran fine. I mean, it could have been an oil issue. The car could have kept its oil changes up a lot better. Let's take off this front housing. So these heads are coming off. So this one is blowing pretty bad, so I'm gonna pull this head off first. Alright, here comes the good part. This cam's out. Oh. All right. This would be a 12 points, so like a 14 or 13. It's a 12 millimeter. Get these head bolts off. Got him. Probably wood. Let's try something. Here's our head gasket. There's plenty of coolant inside of the cylinder, so I'm just looking for anything that sticks out. And this obviously that's blown between the cylinders there. That's also slightly blown between the cylinders. I mean, the engine dent is what it's supposed to do when it blows a head gasket anyway. So this is completely normal. The head's aluminum is going to melt at 700, so I'm pretty sure like 400 degrees, I'm pretty sure it'll warp very easily. That's fresh coolant in there. Look at that, that's starting to blow between the head gasket. See that burn mark? That was blown between the head gasket. I mean, the closest is the reason why it gets pressure in the water jackets. I mean, there's the water channels right there. You can see those are all around there, and it's the closest spot to the fire ring. I mean, this is. I'll get a rag. Oh, my light's dying? Really? Oh. Let's try it. So yeah, here it is clean. Right. So you can see the burn marks between the cylinders here. This should be 2 and 4. This cylinder, bank 2. Burn marks going from here, from the fire ring out to the water channel. And of course, we got a cylinder full of antifreeze. I tried to get it out when I tried to start the car. The car probably would have started up if I would have got all this coolant out, but I had to get it towed in, move it around. So like I said, I didn't want to. I can't reuse this knock sensor here. You can see it a little better. It's melted. Let me pull it off. It look all melted up in there, so I'm not gonna take this or anything. I'll leave it alone. All right, let's get the other bank. Oh, my light's dying? Really? Oh. Let's try it. So yeah, here it is clean. Right. So you can see the burn marks between the cylinders here. This should be 2 and 4. This cylinder, bank 2. Burn marks going from here, from the fire ring out to the water channel. And of course, we got a cylinder full of antifreeze. I tried to get it out when I tried to start the car. The car probably would have started up if I would have got all this coolant out, but I had to get it towed in, move it around. So like I said, I didn't want to. I can't reuse this knock sensor here. You can see it a little better. It's melted. Let me pull it off. It look all melted up in there, so I'm not gonna take this or anything. I'll leave it alone. All right, let's get the other bank. All right, it's another day. I'll be honest, a lot has changed since then. So this is the new motor. I got This has 106,000 miles on it. I just went on ahead yesterday because I had a lot of stuff I had to do. Put the rear valve cover gasket on, and got the plugs in the back bank close to the firewall. Right now, I'm in the process. I'm just going to go ahead and do the time belt, put the new stuff on here, and probably might record the valve cover gasket in the front. But you know how I am. Normal people, I say a lot of stuff and I just change my mind up. Let's get some air on that. Now, if you notice how this time belt is tight on the water pump in comparison to the last one before, I can't even turn this one. So I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna get the new one on here. So we'll replace this, get the new one, and I'm gonna put the load on there to show you how it probably should have been done. I really don't have to, but I'm gonna white out my marks anyway. Be on the safe side. Good. Alright, so I'm gonna put a good load on this. So I can zoom in a little bit better. So I got the tensioner here. Get it lined up. The old one did look pretty good though. I mean, it looks really nice. Alright, so I'm gonna pull this grenade pin here. My time marks are lined up. Top, bottom, bank 1, bank 2. Pull the grenade pin, and I'm gonna see what happens when you do nothing at all. Assuming the other tension was probably defective, so that went up actually. Could have just been a little more. And we're good to go. It's tight. It's tight. Those are tight down there. All right. I know I didn't show the back, but the rear bank is fairly clean in comparison to the old one. I mean, it virtually just like looked new. Uh-oh. Oh. Pull this out. I'm gonna wrap it up in a little bit, but this is just the first part. So I'm gonna start transfer. I got the valve cover in here. I got the put the spark plugs in there shortly, and I'm gonna start transferring old parts that just doesn't look superficially appealing, such as like this alternator bracket here, and put the older one on there, so it just retained its color a lot better. Some of these plugs were replaced. new ones in there. It's a little late right now, but I had a lot of other stuff I had to work on, and with all the phone calls and everybody being a little bothersome, I had to work on this a little later. But I got all the accessories on there, all the topical parts, anything that was superficially unappealing, that's been replaced. The coils that I broke in the back pulling off the old motor, those are replaced. I did have some additional coils laying around from a previous motor I put in earlier this year from another Santa Fe. So I got the, what is it called? I got the dielectric grease on the spark plugs, so to make it a lot easier and coming out. Other issues, I guess, why those coils didn't come out, I guess because the plastic probably bonded to the spark plug tubes. One of them had similar symptoms, like it wanted to melt, but it didn't fully bond. And I guess, all of the ones that were bonded was the one on the back there. So I guess that's what happened when the car ran really hot. But that questionable coil's in the front here. So if anything ever happens, I mean, it's very easy to access. These coils that came on this motor were different, so I couldn't reuse the lower mileage coils. So these are going to be the original coils from the previous motor. So got a flex plate, separator plate here on the bell housing. That's from the old motor. Of course, the converters, manifolds. Let's turn this fan off. The timing belt is was replaced, of course, so we did that. Everything other than that, I mean, this is ready to get dropped in. I got the oil filter, the new oil filter on there. It's got to dump the oil in there once I get the motor in. Vacuum line that I broke pulling the motor out, that's replaced. I'll just cut that to length when that's ready. Other than that, this car should be in and running tomorrow. I just got to finish a vehicle that I was working on earlier today, and should be starting up and running well ahead of schedule. Other than that, I didn't show the rear valve cover when I pulled the valve cover gasket off, because that was a previous day, and again, had a lot of stuff going on. So I don't want to make this video lengthy as far as the engine replacement, because these are not that popular. But just for record keeping, that this rear bank is definitely in a lot better shape than that previous motor. You don't see any type of oil starvation with the heat. that cause like that darkened color. You know, you don't see that age, that mileage. So this engine's in way better shape. But other than that, everything's put back together. I think we should be good to go, man. This motor's gonna be in and running tomorrow, so we'll post an update.